Welcome to the KOR Approach. What we're going to be going over today is the beginning of a series on how to assess core and trunk function. What we're going to go over is 1, does your core work? Does it fire automatically, what we call automatic core engagement? Then 2, how do you get it to fire automatically? 3, then how do you take it through progression? So you start with stability work, then dynamic core, and then into power or sport specific core. So the first part we're going to do over today is automatic core engagement. If your core is functioning based on PNF and neuromuscular control principles, or basically the nervous system, when you do motions, that core should automatically kick in without having to say, kick in your stomach, hold your breath, any of that stuff. And then that core should facilitate and then carry over to what you're doing. So what we're going to do today is 4 tests. The first test is called the elbow flexion test. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring in our subject. So Jeff, what I'm going to have him do here is hold his elbows at his side. If his core kicks in and I push down on his arms, he should not have any trunk movement. I should feel it kick in automatically and it shouldn't be sloppy. So again, I'm getting a nice downward force here. I'm going to pull down on his arms, and immediately when I just put little pressure on his hands, he buckles right away. If he has good core engagement, I should hit a brick wall. And then you can gradually pick it up and see how strong the core is, and again, he kind of starts to lean his trunk. So again, if he has automatic core engagement, it should kick on right away. Test 2 that we do, I'll have you turn towards the camera here, Jeff, is more of kind of a pelvic floor assessment of core, kind of how your pelvis works. If you go from 2 feet to 1 feet and you have good hip control and core strength, there shouldn't be an excessive weight shift. And research has shown that actually about a 1-inch deviation is kind of acceptable there. So if I use generally the tip of my thumb to his ischial tube, and I have Jeff go from 2 legs, I'll have you put this arm here just for convenience sake, 2 legs to 1 leg, he should not hit this stick with his hip. Go for it, Jeff. And he kind of runs right into that stick. Again, I'm not trying to cue him here, I'm just trying to see if that core engages. Test 3 here will come up on your back. What we're looking for here is a isometric hip flexion, which means, again, does that core resist the motion we're doing here? So you're going to bring that leg up slightly in, you want that ankle up, and these are all postures that help facilitate normal core function. And if I pull down on his leg, I should hit a wall right away, I should have no motion. So gently I'm going to start to build it up, and I pull down, and I get nothing. And I get nothing. And there's ways to get this to kick on, but if he can't do this, how can he plank normally, or how can he do a squat with that core firing automatically? And the last thing we're going to do here is he's going to go on his side. So your core, right, is more than just your abdominals. There's a whole lot to it, and we'll get into that. But if I pull down or put a force on his hip, if his core is functioning, including his lat and all of his paraspinals, he should get shoulder motion in addition to that if you think about your patterns of PNF or kind of how your body works. So what we're going to do here is if I pull down on his hip, I'm going to tell him not to let me move him. If his core is functioning, this shoulder should roll with the hip. If not, that shoulder is going to slack. So again, Jeff, don't let me move you. Hold, 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 hold. And again, his hip goes, but that shoulder does not go. If that shoulder is engaged, it should come together as a unit. So those are 4 tests. You don't have to do all of them, but good tests to go, does your core work? What we're going to go over on part 2 here is how to facilitate that core to start working. Stay tuned.